Some games look good, but others look like they're on a completely different level. From visual detail to world design, these games already look seriously impressive. Here's why these 19 new games look absolutely incredible. The Godslayer was one of the biggest surprises when it was revealed. The game takes place in an Eastern-inspired steampunk world where powerful beings known as the Celestials rule over humanity. You play as Cheng, an Elemancer whose family was killed during a brutal event known as the Godfall. Driven by revenge, he begins a journey to challenge the gods themselves and free humanity from their control. What makes the game interesting is its elemental combat system. Instead of simple attacks, players can control multiple elements like fire, water, earth, metal, and wood. These elements interact with each other and the environment, allowing creative combat strategies such as burning structures, freezing water, or using terrain to gain an advantage. If the final game delivers on its open-world exploration and elemental combat system, the Godslayer could end up becoming one of the most interesting action RPGs in recent years.
Head for the signal.
You just gonna stay here when this is all done? What do you want?
I want to go to Earth.
What the hell is going on here? And why are these things trying to kill us?
While I was preparing to depart for Earth, the moonquake struck, damaging Edis.
Enacting attack protocol. Permission to commit acts of controlled violence granted.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm calling it. You'd make a lousy friend. We'll shut Edis down, and then we'll head to Earth.
I decide my own way, and I'm going to Earth with you.
We're a team, right? A whole new life. If you're ready.
Okay, then let's go, together.
Pragmata is one of the biggest upcoming titles from Capcom. From its visuals and futuristic setting, the game already looks incredibly ambitious and quite different from the kinds of games Capcom usually releases. The story takes place on a lunar research station where something has gone terribly wrong. After a disaster leaves astronaut Hugh Williams stranded, he ends up teaming up with a mysterious android girl named Diana. Together they try to survive the station while uncovering what actually happened there. Gameplay is built around controlling both characters at the same time. Hugh handles movement and combat, while Diana helps by hacking enemy systems and security devices. Before you can damage some enemies, Diana needs to break through their defenses first, which adds a strategic layer to fights. Directive 8020 was one of the reveals that immediately caught people's attention, especially for fans of cinematic horror. The game takes place aboard a colony ship called Cassiopeia, where a group of astronauts travel deep into space in search of a new home for humanity. But the mission quickly turns into a nightmare when a mysterious alien organism begins hunting the crew. Gameplay focuses heavily on player choices and quick decisions that can change how the story unfolds. You explore the ship, investigate strange events, and react to dangerous situations through dialogue options and quick-time actions. Like other games from Supermassive Games, your decisions can shape relationships between characters and even determine who survives. One of the more interesting twists is that the alien threat can imitate members of the crew. That mechanic creates constant paranoia, because you're never completely sure who is still human and who isn't.
We are going to do this. Just lower the gun.
Not until you move from the scanner. those things can change shape.
Don't you ever point that thing at me again.
Scan complete. Subject unidentifiable.
We need urgent assistance.
ExeKiller takes place in a strange future where most of the world has turned into a desert after a global disaster. The story follows Denzel Phoenix, a bounty hunter working for a powerful corporation while trying to survive in a lawless wasteland filled with gangs, mercenaries, and dangerous technology. Gameplay gives players a lot of freedom in how they handle missions. You can go in aggressively with guns, move carefully using stealth, or solve situations through dialogue and choices. The game also includes cybernetic upgrades and weapon customization that let you build your own playstyle depending on how you want to approach combat. One thing that makes the game interesting is its cyber-western setting. It mixes classic Wild West themes with futuristic technology, creating a world that feels like a combination of dusty frontier towns, advanced weapons, and corporate-controlled cities.
In a world where there are no rules, the only law that matters is a loaded gun. Go ahead, make my day. My job is not about taking somebody's life. It's about taking their souls.
Money for blood. That's peculiar profession.
Sometimes I kill for money.
Not enough. I need more. Pick your battles, piggy. Let me eat you.
Musashi! We both want the same thing, Musashi. But there's only room for one at the top. And it won't be a coward who runs from jewels. Words never did work between us, did they? Sasaki Ganyu.
Onimusha Way of the Sword brings back Capcom's classic samurai action series after many years. The game is set in feudal Japan, where dark, supernatural forces begin invading the world and turning soldiers into terrifying demons known as Genma. The story follows Musashi, a legendary swordsman who becomes caught in a war against demonic creatures known as Genma. During the chaos, he comes into possession of a mystical artifact called the Oni Gauntlet, a powerful relic that can absorb the souls of enemies and give him supernatural abilities. Gameplay focuses heavily on close-range sword combat. Battles are fast and precise, requiring good timing to block, dodge, and counter enemy attacks. You can also absorb the souls of defeated enemies to power up your abilities and unlock stronger attacks during fights. Onimusha Way of the Sword feels like a big comeback for fans who have been waiting years to see the series return. Deepest Fear is a sci-fi horror game set deep under the ocean, where a secret experiment has gone terribly wrong. You play as Carol, who is sent into an underwater facility to investigate what happened and to find her missing father, the scientist behind the project. But something ancient has awakened down there. Gameplay is played from a first-person perspective, combining shooting, exploration, and puzzle solving. The environment itself becomes part of the danger because the facility can flood at any moment. Creatures can emerge from any water source, and the level design works like a Metroidvania, where you slowly unlock new areas as you gain tools and abilities. That mix of underwater horror and immersive exploration gives the game a very different feel compared to most FPS horror titles.
What the hell happened to these people?
Please! Oh God, help me!
What the hell have you people been doing down here? I thought you said there weren't any more survivors.
Nothing's changed.
We stick to the plan.
Place is falling apart! Water's flooding in! Oh my god!
Shoot it! Stay away from the water. They come from the water!
Neo Berlin takes place in a dark cyberpunk version of Berlin, where technology has divided society into two classes. The rich live safely inside the advanced city, while the poor struggle to survive in the slums and dangerous wastelands outside the massive city walls. The story begins after the murder of the police chief, and a detective named Nolan must investigate the case while protecting the chief's daughter, who may be the key to uncovering a much bigger conspiracy. Gameplay mixes first-person and third-person action with investigation and RPG elements. You can approach missions through gunfights, stealth, or detective work, using advanced technology to gather clues and analyze suspects while exploring the futuristic city. The game is being developed by Elysium Game Studio, an indie studio based in Berlin that focuses on narrative-driven single-player experiences with cinematic storytelling.
How do you save humanity if no one's fully human?
Nakwon Last Paradise drops players into a zombie-infested version of Seoul, where the city has completely fallen apart and survival is the only thing that matters. Instead of controlling a powerful hero, you're just an ordinary survivor trying to make it through a dangerous world filled with infected and desperate people. Gameplay focuses heavily on stealth and survival. Zombies react strongly to sound, so even a single gunshot can attract a huge group. Because of that, players often move carefully, hide in buildings, and rely on quiet melee attacks instead of loud weapons. Another interesting system is the day and night cycle. At night, you go out into the ruined city to search for supplies and valuable loot. During the day, you return to your shelter to organize resources, craft equipment, and prepare for the next dangerous trip out.
Late night?
Just finished. You?
Car trouble.
Damn, Anton. What'd you drive through? A war zone?
Maybe.
You're always showing up when I'm closing. Oh my god. What happened to your face?
Blackwood tells the story of a man living a double life in New York. During the day, he runs a small CD store like a normal person, but when night falls, he becomes a ruthless contract killer working in the city's criminal underworld. As the story goes deeper, his past and the violent world around him slowly start catching up with him. Gameplay focuses on third-person action with fast gunplay and brutal melee combat. Players can dive, slide, and move quickly during fights while using the environment for takedowns. The combat system encourages stylish and aggressive encounters where timing and positioning matter. The game is being developed by Atreto M7 Productions, the studio known for the tactical shooter 0 Hour. With Blackwood, the team is moving toward a more cinematic, story-driven action experience inspired by films like John Wick. Silent Hill Townfall takes the series in a different direction compared to previous Silent Hill games. The story follows Simon Ordell, a man who returns to a remote coastal town after receiving a mysterious message. As he begins investigating what really happened there, strange events start unfolding, and the town slowly reveals its disturbing past. Gameplay is presented entirely in first person, which makes the experience feel much more immersive. Players explore dark locations, solve puzzles, and uncover clues connected to the mystery surrounding the town. Instead of focusing on heavy combat, the game leans more into tension, atmosphere, and psychological horror. The game is published by Konami, the company behind the Silent Hill series. With a new direction for the story and a stronger focus on mystery and psychological tension, Silent Hill Townfall looks like a very different kind of entry in the franchise. Liminal Point is a psychological survival game that brings back the classic style of old-school survival horror. The story follows Lyra, a former rising rock star who returns to a fog-covered island called Ashen Point after receiving a mysterious voicemail from her missing bandmate. Gameplay follows the traditional survival horror formula, where resources are limited and every encounter can be dangerous. You explore abandoned places like mansions, hospitals, and empty streets, while managing inventory, solving puzzles, and fighting disturbing creatures that roam the island. One thing that makes the game stand out is its isometric camera perspective, which gives the world a different visual style compared to most modern horror games, while still keeping the tense survival gameplay inspired by classics like Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Turn to ash. So come and find me.
Samson, a Tyndalston story, is a game that surprised a lot of people when it was first revealed. Instead of a typical action game, it focuses on a grounded crime story set in the rough city of Tyndalston, where survival depends on the choices you make. The story follows Samson McRae, a man buried in debt who returns to the city hoping to fix his life. But things quickly spiral out of control as the people he owes money to start demanding payment, forcing him to take dangerous jobs just to stay alive. Gameplay focuses heavily on brutal hand-to-hand combat. Instead of relying on guns, most fights happen up close, using punches, grabs, and objects from the environment as improvised weapons. The combat is fast, physical, and built around reacting quickly to enemies during intense street fights.
They called it opportunity. I called it debt. The city never stopped moving, and neither did what I owed. I never picked the smart job. I picked the one that bought me another day. In Tyndalston, nobody waited their turn. If you gave them space, they took your teeth. Sometimes you didn't need skill. You just needed something solid. You hear that? Yeah, that's the sound a face makes when it meets regret.
Project DNA is a new MMORPG set in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity is trying to rebuild civilization after a massive disaster destroyed most of Earth. In this world, surviving humans have developed advanced biotechnology that allows them to create immortal, superpowered individuals who now fight to reclaim the planet from dangerous mutant creatures. Gameplay is built around real-time action, where players directly control their character during battles, instead of relying on automated systems. Characters can use different abilities, weapons, and powers while fighting enemies across ruined cities, wastelands, and dangerous environments. The game is being developed by Supervoid using Unreal Engine 5, aiming to create a large online world where players not only fight for survival, but also shape the future of the world as civilization slowly rebuilds. Sector 13 Haunted Woods takes players into a forbidden forest that has been sealed off from the outside world for years after a mysterious disaster. What used to be a quiet forest is now filled with strange anomalies, cursed artifacts, and unknown entities hiding in the darkness. The gameplay revolves around exploration, survival, and teamwork. You search the forest for artifacts, solve puzzles, and use specialized equipment like scanners and trackers while trying to avoid whatever is hunting you in the dark. Every sound matters because enemies react to noise and can track your movement through the environment. The game is being developed by Game Inside Studio, a small indie team working to create a tense horror experience where communication, careful movement, and teamwork are the key to surviving the cursed woods. Project Vesperi is a sci-fi, story-driven game set in the year 2083, when Earth is running out of resources and humanity is searching for a new future in space. The story follows Dr. Evelyn Roth, an astrobiologist sent to a research station on Venus after scientists detect a possible sign of life on the planet. The gameplay is built around a branching narrative where your decisions shape how the story unfolds. Small choices during conversations, exploration, or tense situations can completely change what happens next, including which characters survive and what ending you get. Because of its cinematic presentation, branching story paths, and the unusual setting on Venus, Project Vesperi is trying to deliver a narrative experience where every choice can change the fate of the characters, and possibly humanity itself.
The military has nothing to do with this. This is a scientific discovery.
I think I found something.
Hand it over. Doctor.
Into the Fire is a disaster survival game where you're thrown into the middle of a massive volcanic eruption. The game sends you to Dante's Archipelago, a place where the ground is collapsing, lava is everywhere, and strange supernatural forces begin appearing during the disaster. Your goal is simple but intense. Rescue as many people and animals as possible before everything is destroyed. The gameplay is built around fast rescue missions. You move through dangerous environments filled with lava, firestorms, and collapsing terrain while searching for survivors. Instead of normal weapons, you use unusual tools like fire-extinguishing shotguns, scanners, and other experimental gadgets to fight flames and deal with supernatural threats. With its combination of rescue gameplay and supernatural elements, Into the Fire is trying to deliver a survival experience where every second matters.
I'm going in.
Water is the primary resource for fighting fire. In this world, it's limited, so you have to not only react, but also anticipate your actions in advance. In the chaos of the fight for life and death, local ancient myths turn out to be hellishly dangerous.
What the hell is this?
The fiery forces won't let you save everyone, but you must not stop. Someone is still waiting for your help.
Stay back! I'm coming in!
Ruiner 2 brings players back to the brutal cyberpunk world of Rengkok, a dystopian city where corporations control almost every part of life. In this world, survival is simple. Keep fighting or get crushed by the system. The gameplay evolves the original top-down shooter into a systems-driven action RPG. One of the biggest additions is the shell system, where you can build a roster of different combat bodies called shells and switch between them instantly during fights. Each shell has its own abilities, skills, and role, which allows players to combine their powers and create powerful combat strategies. Another interesting change is how the game encourages experimentation. Instead of locking you into a single character build, the system lets you mix abilities between shells and develop different playstyles as you progress through the game.
Sorry, puppy. You don't get to die like this. You're done running solo.
The Witcher 4 begins a new chapter in the Witcher universe. This time, the story moves away from Geralt and follows Ciri, who has now stepped into the role of a Witcher. As she travels across a dangerous world filled with monsters, kingdoms, and political conflict, she begins carving out her own legacy. Ciri's fighting style feels different from Geralt's. She's faster, more agile, and relies heavily on quick movement and magical abilities during battles. Sword combat is still the core of fights, but her powers and tools allow for more aggressive and dynamic encounters. The game is also a big technical step forward for the series. It's being developed using Unreal Engine 5, which allows CD Projekt Red to build a much larger and more detailed open world, with new regions, dense cities, and environments that feel more alive than before.
Save the village! This tradition! I was chosen to represent you, so thank you!